When people think of American-made trucks, especially when referring to diesel trucks, they think of three names that are very important: Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. Ford has the Power Stroke, Chevy has the Duramax, and Dodge has the Cummins. Now, if you go online and search what's the best diesel truck, you're going to see that every truck is better than the other. There's a cult following between all these trucks and a ton of information online of people arguing and debating whether their truck is better than the next. Well, today we have with us the 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD in the LT trim, and this has the 6.6 liter Duramax that is all new for the 2024 year. It's fully refined, and I'm gonna go over a little bit of what's changed and what's new. And then it's also paired to that new 10-speed Allison transmission. And I have some information on that that might be important in your decision of purchase.
Some of you might be wondering, where is Alex? Well, right now I'm over here in the corner of your screen, hitting the pause button to introduce you to Nick Capetto. He's our new guy in the Pacific Northwest, and you are going to be seeing a lot more of him in the future. Now, this is his very first review on camera, so everybody be kind down there in the comment section below. But of course, leave us feedback, because Nick is going to be rolling through that feedback to help inform his coverage of the latest cars, trucks, and SUVs that he's going to be driving around his home base near Seattle. In addition to weekly reviews, you'll also be seeing Nick on our monthly live shows. So if you have any burning questions for him, just keep a hold of those. Watch for that next live show schedule, and we'll see all of you then. Let's get back to Nick.
This truck has a very menacing road presence, and that is led the charge by this massive front end. It is much larger than the rear end, and it kind of makes it a weird proportion when looking at pictures. It was until I saw it in person that I didn't really like the design. As soon as I saw it, I kind of realized the purpose that Chevy had behind the design, and it doesn't look too bad in person. When looking at this is the LT, so there's the work truck, the custom, and then the LT. LT kind of sits right in the middle of all those trims, so it's not going to get the fanciest of things, and it's not going to get the cheapest of things, so it's kind of right in that middle ground. Talking about that, we have these headlights. So up here is your turn signal, down here is your halogen headlights, and these are not LED, but this is the All-Star package, which is the convenience and safety package combined. So you do get these LED fog lamps down here, but halogen headlights and halogen turn signals. You can, however, get the new LED kind of C LED lights that come standard on the LTZ as well as the High Country, if you equip this with, I think it's the Midnight package, or you get the Z71 Sport package instead of the Z71 Off-Road package. So you can kind of bend the rules a little bit and get that new front end on the LT, but you have to pay extra for it. I think it's a $4,000 option. Or you can just bump it up to the LTZ and get those standard. Up on the hood, you may have some of the most expensive badging that you can buy on the market. Other than Ford, the Duramax has the most expensive engine option at around $9,900. And so these badges really cost $9,000. Performance aside, Duramax, Allison transmission, this is an indication to the public that when they see your HD vehicle, they know that you have the baddest of the bad engine options. Down below, you're even more bougie because you have the Z71 off-road and protection package indicated here by this massive, massive decal or logo that is on the quarter panel. Moving down the vehicle, you have these monstrosities that you call tow mirrors. These are the optional tow mirror that you can option when building the vehicle. These do have a few different things on it that make it special. These do have the forward and rear facing LED lights that help you when backing up or going forward. They also have a puddle light LED underneath, as well as a camera that is part of that HD vision that you get with the safety or All-Star package. So there's a camera on the stem of this on the driver's side as well as the passenger side. So it gives you just a couple different camera angles that you can look at on that main infotainment system. These are power folding, controlled by a button on the windowsill or the armrest of the driver's side, as well as manually extending 3.31 inches. And if it looks like it takes some effort, it does. You kind of have to pull it at a certain angle. I'm trying not to rip the mirror off as well. Moving down to the wheel and tire area, you can see what make the Z71 off-road package worth the money. So right here we have the Wrangler Trail Runner ATs. These are a 275/65 R20 that are wrapped around the 20-inch 10-spoke design machined aluminum wheels that have this painted kind of gunmetal gray painted center. So machined here, painted on the inside, wrapped in this Trail Runner AT. It is a load range E, so it is a very beefy sidewall. Let's keep that in mind. Moving inward from the wheel and tire setup, you can see the Rancho twin tube shocks that come with that package, the Z71 package. And then also you can see that Chevy has stuck with an IFS suspension. The reason I bring this up is because it differs from other manufacturers. So Chevy for the past couple of decades has stuck with that IFS and has really refined it over the years, while other manufacturers have done their tried and true solid axle front suspension. The solid axle versus IFS has been tested time and time again. The IFS is going to be more comfortable on road. Off road, you're not really taking HD vehicles off road too much, but off road a solid axle can be argued that that's more capable. But for ride quality, IFS is the king. So Chevy has really refined and stuck with that IFS suspension. Moving on to the rear of the truck, we have a couple of things I want to address. So on the side of the bed, we have a nice little step here that is nicely textured. So you can, nice little foothold, get up into your cargo space super easily. Come out of here, find that step, there it is. Ugh. It's a little cumbersome, but it's there to reach in, not really to climb in, but to reach in. So that's there. If you're a little bit taller, have a little bit more leg reach, you can really just stand on the tire. But for shorter people, that might be difficult. That's where the step comes in. You have another step in the back corner of the vehicle as well that has a nice deep foothold, so you can get really the front half of your size 13 feet. Above the step, we have our basic taillight that is not LED. One thing I wish this had was LED taillights, but it does not. Overall, good design. Moving alongside the tailgate, we have a pretty funky looking tailgate. Reason being, this is the multi-flex tailgate. What that means is that we have a couple of options here. We can pop this down just for a workbench area, or just a cargo extender, so you don't have to have the bed all the way down. If you want to secure that load, you can pop this up and that stays there. Push that down. So you put that back up, hit that bottom button, the whole thing comes down. And then you press the top button and then this comes down. Sorry, there's two buttons, I got them mixed up. Press that down and we have a grip tape surface here for extra grip, so we can climb on up. There's a little bit of give to it, but it's not bending or not breaking. But to put it back up, there is kind of a trick to this. So you fold this back up, and if you want to just put this part back up, the drop part, you go to do that, and the tailgate's so light that it just lifts the whole tailgate, and it's a little bit odd. If it works. Taking a look at the engine, we have an all new for 2024 L5P, which is the engine code. It's a 6.6 liter V8 turbo diesel Duramax. And what's new about this is Chevy went through and redesigned the whole L5P. So kept the engine code, but it's all new pistons, turbos, turbo design, head gaskets, heads, and valve springs and things of that sort. If you want more information on what's new on this 2024 powertrain, you can go to Gale Banks or Banks Power YouTube channel. And Gale Banks is a very famous name in the diesel community, and he actually tears apart a 2024 L5P and goes through everything that's new on this engine. So if you want to see that, check that out. Go to his YouTube and you can see what he's talking about. This motor produces 470 horsepower and 975 pound-feet of torque. Now you might be thinking, Nick, 470 horsepower is really not that much in comparison to some of the trucks nowadays. Well, you're correct on that. 470 horsepower is enough, but it's not a lot compared to some things like the TRX and the Raptor R. But where diesels really shine is the torque numbers. This has 975 pound-feet of torque, and then the Ford has 1050, and then the Ram has 850, and then some of the Rams have upwards of 900. So you're really talking big numbers in torque specs, but not in horsepower. In the front seating area, I find that there is a lot of room for someone my size. I am 6'1", legs torso proportionate, and with the legroom at 44.5 inches long, there's plenty of adjustability if you are super tall or super short. It is a 10-way power adjustable seat with lumbar, so power forward and back, up and down, as well as tilt, and then you have the lumbar adjustment. Now, the passenger side doesn't get that luxury of having the power adjustment. That is fully manual no matter what package you get in the LT trim. When you go to the LTZ and the High Country, you then can start talking about ventilated seats as well as powered passenger seats. On the topic of ventilated seats, these are not ventilated front seats. We do have the back warmer as well as the butt warmer, or combined. There's two different buttons, but this does not come with ventilated, not on the LT trim. So overall, I'm gonna rate this front seating area a 7 out of 10, where it leaves room for improvement. Now, if we had those ventilated seats, I would rank this quite a bit higher than 7 out of 10, maybe like an 8, 8.5. But overall, if it's not too hot out, very comfortable seating area. All the buttons and all the controls are within reach and where I want them. So 7 out of 10 for the front seats. In the back, we have quite a bit of legroom at 43 inches. So we had 44.5 in the front, 43 in the rear. So this front seat is where I would have it if I was driving. So sitting all the way straight up, I probably have a good 9 to 10 inches between my knees and that front seat. Now the back seats are fairly basic seating. What I mean by that is the leather's not super plush, it's not super fancy, but it is getting the job done. It is the leather package, so it's about as good as you can get for this middle of the class LT trim. Now in the back, we do have 2 cup holders, 2 vents for the heating and air conditioning, and then we also have a USB-A and a USB-C outlet, and that's about it. We have these rear pockets behind the front seats, and that's it for the storage while sitting in the back. But if you hop out and flip this 60-40 split leather seat up, you do have storage underneath, as well as this secret little door on the backrest where you can store some smaller things. For the infotainment system, we have Chevrolet's Infotainment 3 system. It's the premium system in this trim. The wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, as well as it's running a built-in Google. Down below the infotainment system, we have a series of buttons and then one blank one here on the end. We have our exhaust brake, our lane departure warning, our parking sensors on and off, and then we have our tailgate button so we can actually drop that tailgate just from this button right here. We have our flashers. We have our traction control, so turn it up. Click that once, traction control goes off, hold it down, and stability control goes off as well. And this button right here is specific to the Z71 off-road and protection package. This is the downhill assist control. So this helps you keep your speed while going down off-road, just so you don't have to put the tax on your brakes while off-roading. So that's a cool little option. That's only on the Z71 package. One thing I want to mention about this volume up and down knob is that when you put the vehicle in drive, from where I'm sitting, my line of sight, that is blocked. So I'm kind of just guessing where that is. And that is just something I noticed. Not a huge deal, but just something to be mentioned. Below that, we have some plasticky trim here. I think it's meant to look like wood, kind of a different type of wood than the silver trim alongside the bottom. Down below that, we have our trailer brake that I have not tested because I will not be towing in this review. But you have your trailer brake gain up and down. And then to the right of that, since this does have the heat package, which is a $400 option, we have heated seats as well as a heated steering wheel. Below the HVAC controls, we have a nice storage bin here that is surrounded by this soft touch plastic that continues back behind the cup holders. It is rubber, or textured rubber lined, so you do have a nice grippy material so things don't slide around. If you want to toss your phone in there as well, keys, things of that sort. Behind that, we have the cup holders that are rubber lined. They have a texture down at the bottom, and then around it we have this nice chrome trim that carries on alongside the center console, as well as this wood, fake wood trim. Behind the wireless charger, we have our center console, and it has a nice little storage tray that you can pop out if you don't want to use that. We have a USB-A as well as a USB-C, and we also have a 120 volt AC charger right there, a full-size charger. Nice little accent light, a textured rubber mat down at the bottom. And it's deep enough to where I think in Alex's measurements, you could probably fit 2 square gallons of milk. If you shop at Costco, you know what I'm talking about. They have those weird square plastic milk jugs. You could fit 2 of those in here. A regular gallon, probably 1.5. Up top, we have a few different buttons to go over. Right here, we have our programmable home garage door opener. So we have 3 different garage door settings, or you can program 3 different garage doors. In front of that, we have our rear sliding glass control. On the sides here, 2 buttons. We have our entry lights off or entry lights on. So when we open the door getting in or getting out, all the accent lights come on, or you can keep that off. To the right here, we have all accent lights on. Press it again, all accent lights off. And then in front of that, we have passenger airbag status. So right now, no one's in the seat. So this is going to be off. Next to that, SOS, OnStar, as well as talk to an OnStar agent. So in the gauge cluster, we have a 12.3 inch driver information center. This is standard on the LT, LTZ, and High Country trim. This replaces the old analog gauges, or the analog gauges that you would get in the work truck or the WT or the custom. This is high definition, and the animations are specific to the trim level. So this has the Z71 package. So when you start up the vehicle, you do get the Z71 animation, which is a pretty cool little touch. Going through this, we have some information that we can go through. So using the scroll wheel on the right side of the steering wheel. One thing I want to mention that is odd to me, as you can probably see, this is not the vehicle that I'm driving right now. So those LED headlights only come on the LTZ as well as the High Country. You can get it on the LT with specific package. I think it's the Midnight Edition as well as the Z71 Sport package. But it's interesting that they put that on there as standard, since that's not the headlight setup or the front end that we have on this truck. So I've had this truck for just under a week now, and I've put about 150 to 160 miles on it, which that isn't enough mileage to give you a long-term mileage review, but it's enough in my short week testing period to give you a decent overview of how this truck performs. And I want to touch on performance real quick and kind of those numbers and rankings that we usually give vehicles. It's kind of hard to test a heavy-duty full-size truck for handling and 0 to 60 and stuff like that, but we do get 0 to 60 and 60 to 0 times. 0 to 60 is anywhere, as I tested it, from 6.7 to 7.1 seconds. I got a few different ones. Really, I'm just limited on torque management or really traction. So if I turn traction control off and try to launch it, it's just going to spin those tires, and the traction control will kick right back in and slow me down. Once you get up into those higher gears, that torque management is a little bit less, and you can feel that power starting to come back in, especially when that torque converter starts locking up and it starts pulling real hard. But yeah, our 0 to 60, as I tested it, was I got a 6.7, 7, and a 7.1, so in that range. In terms of 60 to 0 braking test, this thing did it in 134 feet, which isn't too bad thinking about how big this vehicle is. It's a lot of mass moving, especially a lot of mass on the front end. Those diesel engines are not the lightest things in the world, and to slow down 8,100 pounds and 134 feet from 60, not too shabby. And now for the ranking. So starting off with handling, hard to rank a 3/4 ton truck in handling, but I guess in a different sense than like a sports car, where on a sports car, I'm talking about going around corners quickly. Handling in the truck more so at lower speeds. I haven't towed with it, so I can't give a towing handling rating, but just unloaded as it sits, it handles pretty well. So I would give that a B. Now, why do I give handling a B? Well, Chevy, like I mentioned before, has stuck with the IFS suspension, or the independent front suspension, compared to other manufacturers who still have solid axles in the front end. IFS is a little more forgiving when talking about handling and ride quality. So I think that is a one-up that the Chevy has over other manufacturers, and that just amplifies, especially when you have the Rancho twin tube shocks and the little bit thicker tires. So that the ride quality and the handling improve with the Chevy, given the fact it has IFS and these off-road shocks. Now, speaking of the handling, let's talk about ride quality, because ride quality is more so talking about in a straight line, how does it handle bumps, how does it handle rough roads, things like that. But as of right now, I'm giving this A quality, just because I hopped in this thing, started driving it right away, fell in love with it for the ride quality. As I was mentioning before, talking about handling, the ride quality is also improved over other manufacturers because of that IFS. Independent front suspension just gives you a little bit more leeway when going over rough roads, just because the whole axle isn't shifting when you hit a bump on one side, just one side is shifting or going up and down when hitting a bump or hitting a dip. So that is a one-up in the ride quality area. And my final rating is going to be for fuel economy. Fuel economy is going to be a little bit tricky for this truck, just because EPA does not rate any vehicles over 8,500 GVWR. What GVWR is your gross vehicle weight rating, which is your payload and your vehicle weight combined. So anything over 8,500 pounds, which this has a gross vehicle weight of over 10,000 pounds, this is not rated by EPA. With that being said, I have driven this for about 150 miles, and I have done a decent little bit of freeway driving. For example, when I was driving home from my girlfriend's house, she lives in Gig Harbor, and I was driving back to Renton. So if you want to look that up on a map, driving back from Gig Harbor is about 35 to 40 miles, and I got anywhere from 19 to 21.5 miles per gallon on the freeway. And then once I got back into the streets and it's stoplight to stoplight, I could see anywhere from 12 to 14 miles per gallon, just accelerating stoplight to stop sign. So it's not the most fuel efficient vehicle you could buy, but for a large truck that's 8,100 pounds and has this much power and towing capability, 21.5 miles per gallon on the freeway unloaded is not too bad. Now, obviously that number is going to drastically decrease when you start towing up towards that max towing capability. but that is to be tested. I have not tested that in this review, so hard to say personally what that miles per gallon would be. But I think that the main buyer of this and trims higher than this, especially the high country, are going to be more recreational towers, someone that wants something comfortable for their kids, for their family to go on long road trips in and tow, like I said, a camper or a small boat, things of that sort. And that brings me to my next point. I just mentioned the price, $73,000 as equipped delivered. Now I want to talk about what that means. I'm going to pull over real quick and read you some numbers, just because these trucks, when you start speccing them out and trying to figure out pricing and comparing it model to model with different brands, there is so many options. It is so overwhelming. So this vehicle has $19,000 of options on it. And I'm going to pull to the side and read you off every option that is on the Monroney, so you can kind of go online and spec it out yourself and see exactly what you're getting. All right, now that I have my papers out, I'm going to read you off exactly how much each option costs, because I want to show you exactly why this vehicle costs almost $74,000 delivered. So with that being said, let's start off with the most expensive option, which is selecting the Duramax 6.6 liter. That is a $9,490 option. The next most expensive is the All-Star Edition package, and that gets you the convenience package number 1 as well as the safety package. That is $2,470. The next most expensive is the Z71 Off-Road and Protection package. That is $1,165. And that gets you that off-road skid plates, the off-road suspension, as well as the tires and the badging and the animation on the driver's display. Next, 20-inch aluminum wheels, $1,100. Leather package, $985. Front bucket seats, which upgrades your leather to a more comfortable and more bolstered seat. That's $620. Gooseneck and fifth wheel package, so you have the hookups ready to go, $545. Trailer mirrors, $530. Remote start package, $525. That is remote start, heated rear window, as well as a theft deterrent system. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the multi-flex tailgate is available on all trims, but it is an extra cost at $445. And then we have a convenience pack number 2, which is $425. Next is the heat package at $400, and that brings us to a total options package of $19,040. Now they do give you a little bit of relief and give you a $1,000 discount when selecting the Z71 and the All-Star Edition, and I think due to fact that like you get some overlapping things included, so they give you a $1,000 discount. I don't know if that's the reason why, or they just kind of feel bad for you that you have almost $20,000. The cost of some cars options on your starting $53,000 or $65,000 for the LT trim. So if you're looking for a cheap truck, the Silverado does have some cheap options. If you want to get a gasser, you can get a gas work truck at $51,000. That is the least expensive or the cheapest option, $51,595. If you want to go the most expensive route and stick with Chevy, you can get the High Country diesel that is starting at $82,385. So almost $82,500, and that's for the diesel High Country. If you want to go for the LT trim, the starting is the gas model, which is a 6.6 liter V8 that also has the 10-speed Allison. That starts at $53,000. And then if you want to go diesel and get the LT trim, that starts at $65,000. And like I said, this thing does have quite a bit of options selected, 19,000 to be exact. And the total price of this vehicle is $73,935. One thing I never mentioned is that you can get a sunroof on this trim, the LT trim, but that is a $900 option. So keep that in mind. This does not have a sunroof or a moonroof. That is an extra $900 that you would throw on to the already $19,000 of options. Do you think the $74,000 is worth it for this truck? If not, leave your comments down below and tell me why you don't think so. And if you do think it's worth it, tell me, kind of give me some examples why you think it is worth it, or kind of just leave your 2 cents on this whole luxury truck market. It's kind of a crazy idea to think a truck that would be used for work possibly could cost anywhere from $50,000 to $90,000. Kind of a crazy market we live in, where that is a feasible thing for some people. Leave your comments down below and tell me what you think about all this craziness. And until next week, I'll see you guys then.